So welcome everybody. So this will be a session, a very brief session about achieving significance through eco leadership, especially when we are kind of stagnated in our workplace and we are feeling stagnated, unrecognized. What I expect you to do is when I am flipping through the slides, just take note of one or two words uh, for whatever slides you can register, and then we can discuss over that, because each slide will throw up a lot of questions inside you, because this is a new approach towards leadership, and it is the same as the leadership, but the approach is very different. And your challenges, whatever challenges you are having, those challenges are there. If you agree with me, then those challenges are there because they are some form of opportunities in our way, and we need to know how to transform them into opportunities, how to see that this particular challenge is an opportunity. So I'll expect each of you to take note. So what does it mean to achieve significance? Why not promotion? Why not increment? And why significance? Significance is finding your purpose and making a positive impact in both professional and personal life. It is more than a promotion. A promotion is you become a manager, but manager or a senior manager or even senior to that. But you will not become, what you will not become is significant. But once you become significant in your organization for yourself also, then it makes a lot of change in terms of your own emotions, mindset, and your growth. So your current challenges can be blocked into these 5 categories: work-life imbalance, high workplace stress, career stagnation, desire for meaningful change, lack of fulfillment in current roles. So all these, many people won't even recognize which category they belong. They simply say that I want to change my job, but they don't actually pinpoint which is the reason why they want to change the job. So achieve significance doing what you love. So it is not something that you need to learn something else. Then whatever you are doing, you have to do whatever you want to do and whatever you have been doing. And it is about engaging with people that are meaningful to you, helping them grow. This is very significant because many people, many of us, many of the leaders, they don't know this is a very important aspect of our emotional well-being. Do things ethically, no matter what, whatever may be the circumstances, don't go out of your way. Thinking that the other person is doing these things wrongly and still he is growing, so I can also do that. It doesn't help you, because you always will be remembered and you will be in the guilt. And earn by learning and teaching. So whatever you learn, you know more by teaching. To lead ethically, sustainably, and collectively is green leadership. The connection to green leadership brings significance because it is a unique approach to lead. And benefits of embracing green leadership or eco leadership is enhanced work-life balance, reduced stress through meaningful work, opportunities for collaboration and networking, greater job satisfaction and fulfillment. We'll see how it is, how it helps in all these facets. So significance as a leader, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. So that is what I meant by helping people to grow. So this is one aspect of significance, achieving significance. When you grow emotionally, even if you are not promoted, you grow as it is because of your own ethics, because of your own struggle, because of your own idea of growth. And you also help people grow. And the 6 aspects of significance are influence, identity, resilience, relevance, visibility, and fulfillment. The outcome that a mid-career professional looks, and they don't know where the problem lies still, even if they can't articulate where what they are looking for, still they look significance in one or more than it. It's also okay if you look for all six. So what happens? You become the captain, the thought leader, any one of this category. You choose your category, what you want to be. Green advocate, the decision maker, go-to person, making precedence. Nobody has done something like you have done now, or the voice of future. Any one of you choose, and you can start working in that direction, and it will help through eco-leadership to achieve that goal. Remember, I haven't spoken about anything about uh, promotion or anything. It is you give growth to yourself. So what stands between you and your dazzling self is, let us deep dive into the challenges. The challenges that we have discussed under those 5 categories. Still, we can pinpoint as to what is the particular challenge that each of us is facing. Lack of career direction, career stagnation, sorry, feeling unappreciated, fear of change, feeling sidelined, unrealistic expectations, inability to voice grievances, cynicism about possibilities. That this is the most common because people don't think there is a solution. Hopelessness because of that cynicism maybe. So what next? Can green leadership be a solution? So what is green leadership now? You think creatively, you are very aware of whatever you are doing, that is mindfulness, intuitive intelligence. So many times we think that this should be the solution to this, but we just ignore that inner voice. But that is the intuitive thing. We have to learn to recognize our inner voice, what is right. So we all do that. We feel like something and we do something else. And environmental consciousness. So environmental consciousness is about green way of your thinking, the thought process, and we will see how that can be green. Are we feeling stuck? We can get the roadmap today. If we are facing stagnation in whatever area and because of whatever reason. So the problem is feeling stuck in routine work. The solution is change your perspectives. Einstein says the mindset with which your problem is created cannot be resolved with the same mindset. So your mindset needs to change. And that is what is perspective change. The problem, lack of motivation, then define your purpose. Now, how do you know your purpose? Is the like you have to start acting on something that you love. Persistently keep on doing that and with intensity. That is what how the purpose is defined, and nobody else can do it for yourself. You have to start doing that. The problem is fear of failure. Micro wins is the solution. Problem is burnout from overwork. The solution is delegate responsibilities. This is a big thing. Delegation is something nobody does. Like not many, 90% of people don't know how to delegate. Even if they get promoted to say the senior level, they still keep on doing the same work that they were doing at manager level. Now, what is the change then? If you are not able to train your juniors to take over the job that you have, uh, take over the job you have been doing so far before getting promoted, then what is the use of promotion? Why do you need a promotion? Because you are very stuck, attached to whatever you have been doing. So delegation is because you should aim for your juniors. to replace you. So that has to be your motto. The problem is lack of career growth, and the solution is new skills. New skills,
Uh,
existing skills. Uh,
can
so
I ask a question?
yeah,
Sorry
yeah,
to interrupt you.
yeah,
Can you go back to the slide before this, the
yes,
micro skills part?
yeah.
Could you please
Micro wins.
explain this?
This
Micro
one.
wins, yes. Yeah.
Micro wins, very, very small wins. Like
Mhm.
suppose you have a to-do list, right? So many people ask this question as to what should be a micro win. Suppose you have to write an article, right? You have to write an article. So that is the total, the most productive and the entire work that you do in a day. Maybe you will write half an article, but before you write that article, what other things that you have to do as preparation? So you have to fix what are the topics that you will cover in that article. So that preparation is one thing. So for that you will go through some books. That is one task. So once you can complete that, going through books and finding your substance for that particular article, then that is a win. The second is you will search in internet for your whatever subject you are writing on, and that
Yes.
is one win. So like this way, actually you have to divide your work. See, you already are doing, but you are not conscious that so many jobs you already do in a day while writing one article. One article is just one win. If you consider, then it will be just one win. But if you also consider all the preparatory work that you do in a day, uh, it- this article writing is just one thing. And after you write down, that you have to circulate that amongst your seniors, your colleagues. Then the third thing is post production. You have to market it. Maybe you have to send it to somewhere for publishing. So that is all those things you have to divide small in a small bucket. So everything one. If you don't do one thing, you cannot go to the next. So though if that is so, then each task is can be considered. Once completed, it can be a micro win.
Okay.
So, yeah, yeah. So, new skills is the same skill. Now, taking that as example, new skills is learning now how to subdivide your daily task to-do list and how it is part of your bigger goal. These are skills that many people don't know. And because of this, they cannot track their success. They do not feel successful. They do not feel satisfied. So these are the skills. So how do you develop a new skill? Is just get onto a problem. Solve a problem that you don't know anything about. So while solving that problem, you learn a lot of things. Maybe in between you need to learn something new, something that you haven't known for so long or so far. That will be easier to learn a new skill rather than going and only learning a new skill, because that will only be learning, not solving a problem, and it will not give you enough motivation to learn. So problem solving is the easiest way to learn a new skill. Then the problem is job insecurity, and the solution is upskill first. So how do you upskill? Upskill means whatever you are doing, do it fast. So that way, job insecurity is a perception, right? So maybe if there is no laying off as such, but still you are feeling that your job is insecure. If that is there, like laying off is going on, then it is a real problem, and you should start uh, looking for something else. So that is a problem. But most of the cases, the job insecurity is kind of uh, perception. So what do? You have to learn a new skill, and new skill means upskilling means your existing skills plus. And loss of passion, shift focus. So if you can look at the diagram that is here, the problem is if we are focusing on the problem, then it is not going, it will be a never ending problem. It will give no solution. But if you start at one solution, it will keep giving you further solution because your mindset now has shifted from the problem focus to the solution focus. Imposter syndrome, you don't know enough. So our Hindu scriptures say that when you know a lot, you start thinking and feeling that you don't know anything. So how do you track that? So have you become very knowledgeable or something? That is why you are feeling like this. You don't know. So what you can do is those micro wins, you have to track that every day. How do you do that? Track your wins with an Excel sheet or your to-do list, whatever you are doing. So your to-do list has to be such. Say, writing an article is to do, but breaking them into small tasks are micro tasks. So those tasks, each task completion is a win. So track those wins. Problem is lack of feedback. Ask directly to somebody. And many people, today's world, they will not give very positive feedback. So if you know somebody to be very hostile, please don't go to those people. You can take indirect feedback from them, but feedback can be in various forms. Ideas, response, opinion, survey, comment, rating, result, advice. Take any one of these and you will get your feedback. And this is very important because this is when I am kind of disseminating this, also I am taking your feedback and I will be taking your feedback as well. So this is a very important kind of activity which gives you further insight into how to improve. Problem is unsure of next step, seek mentorship. And again, mentors are not many. So how do you seek your mentorship? You have to be very careful about this mentoring support. Problem is stress from responsibility. The solution is share load, delegation again. Problem is isolation from peers. Then get to a peer network where you are not one-to-one with anybody, but you are on at par with everybody and you can discuss something not very personal. Problem is, are you stuck in comfort zone? Then incremental change. Many people will not do any drastic change overnight. So how do you propose them any change? Because change is necessary at every step. So what do you do is take incremental, small step. And again, you have to break down your change into smaller steps which you can take. So over a period of time, as your confidence grow, you can take bigger change also. Fear of career pivot. So take hybrid roles. Disengagement from
What does
work.
that mean?
So hybrid roles is suppose you in your organization you have several departments or many people are handling different things. So what you can do is a little bit of their work you can take as a help to them. That will give you some insight about what they are doing and how they are doing. This will help your profile to grow into something your profile plus. Is that okay? Is that clear?
Uh,
Yes. Any?
Not very much.
So suppose there is an inventory. So in in an organization there is accounts, there is HR, there is admin, and there is research, there is other department, policy and other things. So suppose you are hired for the HR role. Now, what is that you are very comfortable of? Suppose you want to take a bit of policy also or bit of research also, right? So if you can take a bit of research again, consists of lot of tasks, and it is never just one man's job. It takes lot of people to contribute into that for a research to happen. Now you can, depending on your interest, you can take a part of that. Suppose one part is data collection. Are you okay with that? Do you have a bigger network where you can circulate this and get some data about, suppose something, an opinion poll or something? Can you do that? Would you love doing that? Whatever you love doing, you can take that, and now you know how to collect data. And now, once you have collected data, you would also be interested in knowing how whatever you have collected has been utilized for that research. So that gives you something which you didn't know. Now you know something about one process of research. And data collection is not a small job. Data collection is the most vital point of research. The relevant data you collect, the more authentic that research will be. Garbage in, garbage out. So if you collect very important data, valid data, it will give very valid research also. Clear now? Any more question out here?
It is clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So disengagement from work purpose projects. So this same thing. Like if you think that you are finishing your work in say 35 minutes every day, because that is what also I teach. That every day you have to have 22 minutes goals. That means you will finish your work in 40 minutes, right? Ultimately, this will happen if you do your work with mindfulness and with enough honesty or sincerity. It will be finished, it will get finished very quickly. Suppose you get your work done in half the time of office hour. So suppose you finish your work in 4 hours. Now, what do you do with the rest 4 hours that is there in office time? You do something else, like doing your profile plus thing, purpose projects, like whatever you like. Anything else that will help the organization grow, and also it will add to your profile and your skills. Then risk aversion control experiment. It is a small kind of experiment. Like, so what is, like, if you don't want to take risks, then weigh yourself with this: pain from loss is bigger or pleasure from gain is bigger. So when you have risk aversion, pain from loss is bigger in your mindset, but you can increase that pleasure from gain. That will help you to take risk. So this is one solution. Then overthinking decisions, take rapid action. Don't think twice before taking that action. And you will, maybe some people are so perfectionist that they will say, you do this first, take care of this first, then only you produce something. That will delay your action, because somewhere, because you are thinking so much, you will not produce anything. And if you are not producing anything, after 2 or 3 days, you will not be producing anything at all. And you will, nobody else, but you yourself will dissuade yourself not to producing anything till you perfect that thing. So don't be afraid of failures. Don't be afraid of imperfect action. That will help you get out of this analysis paralysis. Poor work-life balance, do your time audit. How much time you are spending in each of the activity. This helps hugely in time management. And time management is responsible for poor work-life balance. You don't know where you are spending all your time. Feeling uninspired, then take creative projects like write poems, do some paintings, These are all creative projects. You can do anything. Content is the most beautiful creative projects that you can take up. So you are lucky if you have content writing. So, but what if you are feeling uninspired to write content as well? So change your topic, change your subject. Don't write on the same thing. And you can also give various flavor to your subject. Write with emotion. There are 27 emotions that are there. I will be discussing. So let us go and see how we can give different flavor to whatever we are writing. Lack
One
of
question
recognition. Yes, yes, Max.
on the previous slide or previous to previous, the time management.
Yes.
Any more insight on the time management thing, like how we should, I mean, do this time management that will make us doing everything but with perfect timing.
Yeah. So many people do this, like waking up at 6, then doing their brushing of teeth and getting ready by 6:30. You don't do this. What I do is I have divided my day into 3 or 4 segments. Say morning segment, then office segment, then after office, whatever do I have divided into 2 segments, like creating and producing. Thereby I mean I read something, and produce means I do webinar or any session. That is what I mean. So reading, writing is creation, and producing means these sessions and all. Office time is starting from your office, starting from the time you have started for office till you reach back home. That is office time, whatever you do. Then morning time is you have to get ready, you have to do your exercise. That is what I do. But you can, depending upon your lifestyle or whatever your work is, you can define into 4 segments. It doesn't matter half an hour here there, but 4 segments. Have you done all 4 segments in a day? That is all that is matters. So suppose you cannot do everything. Suppose you have, say, 20 activities in your day. So every day, don't schedule everything, those 20 things, because maybe it is creating some kind of conflict in other things that you want to do. So you can increase your creation to, say, from 2 hours to 3 hours, and reduce. Suppose you are going to gym, so that can be reduced. This is just a suggestion. In what way you can reduce somewhere, and every day you cannot do, but schedule those things. If you have 20 things to do, schedule those 20 things, 20 activities into your week, because it cannot be fitted into one day. You can do this, you can take either of these 2 approaches, or a hybrid of these approaches. Clear? Clear, or any other
Yeah,
question? Yeah.
yeah, it helps.
So problem is hesitation to innovate, and so green projects are the solution. So what can be green projects? We will discuss it further. So emotional exhaustion is self-care. Smile a lot. Problem is indecisiveness, then start small. So many people, 99% of people who are facing stagnation, who are facing time management, who are facing work-life balance, and they also are indecisive. They do not start at all. So take that first step. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from one step, the first step, right? So start small. It is the same thing. Whatever way you think you can, just start. Problem is self-doubt in leadership, then empower others. Because how can you be leader unless there is a team to follow you? Lack of challenge, stretch goals. So 5% you are, so this can be fitted into your time management thing also. Stretch goals, stretch into 25% into whatever you want to do. Suppose you want to create, you want to read and write and learn more, then if it is 5% of the day to day, it can be 25%. So you accordingly you have to adjust in other areas. Problem is job monotony, find passion. Always. So you can read this. I want to chase my passion, but I can't quit my job. But you can do both with a damn good plan. So planning is very important. And planning is the most significant indicator of a leader. Problem is unclear career path. Solution is career coaching. Coach yourself in your career. Where are you leading to the next step? What is the next step? Which path is for you? So we have discussed that there are 6 aspects that we look for in our lives, which is identity, influence, visibility, relevance, resilience, and legacy. So choose which path is appropriate for you right now, because all 6 are very important for anybody and everybody. But right now, which is the aspect that you want to work on? Choose that. This is a vision board I have made for myself. This can be vision board of anybody, and you can change the pictures and change your picture in the center, change according to your taste, whatever you want to do. And this is the vision board we all work for. That helps. Now the 27 kind of emotions that we have. Fear, desire, safety, adventure, significance, success, purpose, growth, appreciation, save time, timely, quick result, cheaper deal, better bargain, security, attractive options, comfort, happiness, bliss, trust, peaceful, tranquility, story, connecting the dot, boredom, nostalgia, addiction, exclusivity, self-worth. So what do you, this is further breaking down into your emotion, where you are. So this is the start of the entire subject. So the most dominating emotion is fear. And fear has 6 components according to me. But today we'll be delving deep into change. Thinking out of the box with unconventional solutions, perspective change, bouncing back, misunderstanding, eco actions on daily basis. So these are the how many? 5 solutions for handling change. So let us go to the first thing, thinking out of the box, unconventional solutions. So let me make it full screen. Do you often explore unconventional solutions to a problem? So think out of the box. So how great leaders inspire action. So this is a whole video. We will not
I can't see the screen. It's all black.
It's visible now. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, now it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is a whole. So let us start. So whether you think out of the box or not. So that is the first way of handling change, because fear is the emotion very, very dominant in ours. Each of us has a certain percentage of fear inside us, which is why we don't think differently. So how great leaders inspire action is to find your why. Suppose I ask you to go to gym to lose weight. Maybe you will, if you are not enough inspired, you will go for 2 days, 3 days, and then stop. But if I say that buy by getting into shape, you will look more handsome or very beautiful. Then it kind of gets stuck in you, and your why becomes stronger as to why you should go to the gym. So when there is a difficult decision to be made, which you are not feeling like taking that action, then find out your why you should do that. So you ask yourself 5 questions. The 5 questions I always talk about. You ask yourself further why, because if it is not uh, ingrained in your consciousness, you will not going to do it, not going to continue with it. In importance of unconventional solution in leadership and problem solving, that you need to know. What are some unconventional ideas or approaches I can apply to my current challenges? Ask yourself this question. This encourages you to think creatively about problem solving. See, there is no solution, no ready-made solution to your problem, because problems and challenges are very different for every different person. But if you can ask these questions, what is that unconventional approach? What nobody does, what nobody has suggested to you so far? How have I stepped outside my comfort zone in the past, and what unconventional methods work for me? So this question comes to you only if you have done something unconventional in the past. And everybody has a DNA to do unconventional things. And it comes from habit, though, but it also comes naturally to many people who do things very unconventional. So they will ask this question. So when this happens, then what have you done in the past that was very different? Questioning the status quo. What assumptions am I making about my industry that could be challenged for innovative solutions for your work? Questioning the status quo can open doors to new opportunities. Always ask these questions, because not even the leaders, they don't know what you are thinking, and they don't know what you can produce. How can they know? There is no way of knowing the other person's capability or potential till you show them that. So maybe they will say, this way won't work. That is what the Wright brothers heard when they started on their aeroplane project. Somebody else funded crores of billions of dollars into a project similar to that, but they didn't succeed. Who succeeded? People with little resources, the Wright brothers. So their why was very strong. That is what is discussed in the Simon Sinek's video. You also think about that, how you can be very different. Questioning the status quo can open doors to new opportunities. How can I leverage technology or tools in unexpected ways to enhance my work in sustainability? Who are the non-traditional thinkers in my network, and how can I collaborate with them for fresh perspectives? This means that you might have friends or you may not have. So, but people who think very differently or very open to your ideas when you suggest something, those are the people you should be networking with. Your environment is more stronger than your willpower. So always be careful about your environment, and your environment is your friends and the people you all every day kind every day you are working with. What unusual industries or sectors can I draw inspiration from to innovate in my field? In what ways can I incorporate feedback from unlikely sources to improve my projects? What are the risks of pursuing an unconventional approach, and how can I mitigate them? How can I foster a culture of experimentation and creativity in my team or organization? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. What would I attempt if I knew I couldn't fail, and how to take a small step towards that? Evaluate the comfort level with each question on a scale of 1 to 5. So have you evaluated yourself? So quickly, if we can evaluate ourselves with these questions. So if you have remembered something, then give yourself that question, because this is an exercise for a workshop. So let us proceed on that. And what has been your learning? Maybe somewhere you have given yourself a score of 1. So which were those questions? So it is always, the solution lies in getting very detailed into your thought process. Time for your 3 most important takeaways. So those 3 things which you have scored as say 1, or you have scored as 5, can be your important takeaways. It will
Can we do those questions one by one? It was very fast, so didn't get time to evaluate. If you don't.
So there are many questions. So I'm very quick. Just I'm giving an
Okay.
overview, and then
Okay,
I'll
okay.
give these questions also.
Okay.
So let us go to the second thing that we think that we are scared of. This is about perspective change. So have you ever experienced a crisis that changed your perspective on leadership? It is leadership in the time of crisis. Simple exercises, crisis reflection activity. Think of a crisis or challenge that you have faced in organization or in your personal life. Anything will do. Think of that crisis. What was the crisis?
Can it be a crisis? I mean, so I can only think of one thing immediately, is that when the crisis happened, my confidence in the kind of leadership that was happening, that changed. So it made me distrust them more in the way they handled that crisis. What to do in that kind of time.
Yes. See, we need to ask self-question helps, It gives a, so what was the crisis? You have to write it down. Maybe you can write it in 3 lines or maybe in 3 pages. So if it is too very prominent in your mind, then 3 pages is a great way to relieve it. Once you write it down, you will see that you don't feel that being that much, right? How did it challenge your leadership? Right? Explain this also. What was your initial response? In 3 words, if you can write. Or, as I say, it can be 3 words, 3 sentences, 3 pages. It is your prerogative. How you release that pain is important. And once you release that pain, only then you can have the learning and the way forward, and how you move, and how you deal with similar problems if it comes again. So how did your leaders approach change as a result? So whatever crisis you were describing, how did they approach?
I don't exactly remember, but I can only just remember the feeling that happened. That I thought this could have been handled better, or this kind of reaction. I mean, from a leadership perspective, I believe I expect more maturity, more patience,
Yeah.
which was absent at that time. And I thought maybe I myself might not have that kind of maturity, but I believe that if you are in a leadership position like that, you should be capable of that maturity or that patience, which was absent in that scenario.
Yeah. So, why mid-career professionals face stagnation? Because they are unappreciated, because they are sidelined, because they are ignored. Why? because the leadership is not that mature. That is the only reason why so many mid-career professionals face stagnation. So your case is nothing new, it is usual. So if that is usual, put be the leader you aspire others to be. No? So you become the boss. You become the leader who mentors others when they don't know. So what you can do, those are the styles that also we will discuss in the later slides. Let us keep this question in mind. What did you learn about yourself as a leader in that situation? You are saying you were not that mature, but you must have felt about a solution. This should have been the exact solution. They didn't have
Right.
maturity is a problem, but what was the solution? Think of that as well. And for all these questions, again, you can rate yourself on 1 to 10 scale. And what would you do differently faced with a similar situation now? Think about that. Be prepared. Key takeaways are crisis test leadership. All the crises that we face, these test only our leadership. Others we are not bothered about. It is how we behave. Adaptation is essential. Sometimes maybe the battle has to be sacrificed to win the war. We need to do that. Reflecting on crisis shapes future leadership. So that is about personal crisis that we face sometimes. So let us go to the next PPT, which is bouncing back after a crisis. So how do we bounce back? We bounce back by knowing our vulnerability. Why we got so much affected? What were we ashamed about? That is a cultural, your way of telling the other person that your standing is this. And that is very important because many a times we don't express adequately in an appropriate manner. So this is a video you can watch afterwards. This is power of vulnerability. So let us see what she is telling. I think I'll call you a researcher, but I'm afraid if I do, no one will come because they will think you are boring and irrelevant. So the perspective she is coming from is that she is a researcher in Western world, a researcher is not a storyteller because story contains your own impressions, your own experience. It doesn't come from solid data, right? So a storyteller is very different from the researcher, and Brené Brown, was a researcher. And so the identity struggle was, the academic in me thought, you are going to call me a what? I said, why not a magic pixie? But then I realized I am a storyteller. I collect stories which are just, let's see, data with a soul. So what are stories? When you do research, your research is data with a soul, then only it becomes a story. Otherwise, research is there, nobody bothers to take any learning from that. Researchers, storyteller. Can we be both? Can we be a researcher as well as a storyteller? Because nowadays, the trend is nobody gives you a damn if you are a researcher, but if you are a storyteller, even if you are doing something very mundane, even then you can make it a story. And if you are able to make that into a story, then only you are recognized as a leader. So expanding perception through stories. How do you tell somebody that their perception has been maybe a lot to expect from? It can only be a story. The realization happens only if you start telling them through a story. And the beginning of research is someone who liked organizing messy things. I thought I would find my place in research. Messy things are so many. As you were saying, the situation that you were describing, all those are mess, right? But if those can be arranged into a story as to why, what happened in their past, what has been their experience, what background they come from. We take all those details in a very negative sense. But if we can take them in a positive sense, it kind of builds your story a, into something which will help them also. And you don't have to be very direct and saying them you are so mean and you're all those things, right? You can say that easily, but will that empower those people? Will that help them change? It will not. So the connection and the purpose. What is your purpose? So always think of your purpose. Why you are doing, why are you reacting, why you are responding in that same way that you are responding. It always has to come from your purpose. The connection always has to come from your purpose. If you have learned so much, then you need to tell them that by learning this, you can also uh, behave in a very different way. Your approach can be very different. And this is called empathy. And the empathy is a very, very important thing for a leader, but it is not very easily developed. It cannot be very easily developed because the moment we see a negative reaction, we tend to give a reaction very negatively. But if we know and if we can see that the person is coming from that background or that person, then it will amuse you. And when it amuses you, you'll stop giving a reaction. You become silent and construct that whole story behind that. And by that, you actually empower yourself to deal with that person better. The struggle with connection is when I ask about their connection, they tell about in love, they will tell about heartbreak. So whatever a positive thing that you ask, they will uh, kind of tell you about what negative has been going on in their lives. What about belonging? Then they will tell about exclusion. Have you ever noticed this? So if you talk about connection, they will talk about disconnection. Have you ever noticed this? So
Yeah.
if that is so, people will are shadows of their experiences, right? Shadows of their experiences. So we should have, we can have some empathy in dealing with those people. And the discovery of shame. If and when the disconnection, this frustration, this getting excluded, are they all have a story which they are hiding, right? Because of some kind of shame, and they are hiding behind that. If we know that already, that there is a shame involved in their disconnection, on belongingness, then it helps us to become an empath. And the shame is universal, not that you or I have shame. Everybody has some kind of shame. That comes because of our value system. We think that these things are proper and these things are improper. And whatever improper has happened in our life, that becomes a shame. So for somebody else, it may not be the same as same value system as yours, and you will be surprised as to what is shame in this. But that is their shame, and they are hiding behind that, and they are not going to talk about it. The moment they start talking, it becomes a vulnerability. The moment you open up your heart about something which you accept as your shame, that is vulnerability. And people take advantage of this vulnerability, that is your insecurity again. So you have to grow beyond your vulnerability, your shame, and you should not be ashamed. You should not be apologetic about whatever experience you had, because that experience is yours. And the reality of vulnerability is shame and vulnerability. It is not a win. So it is not going to end well. It is not pointing at some win. It is pointing at acceptance, which means that you have come to terms with your simple whatever experience. And because you have come to terms with that, you have overcome that pain. So worthiness is the differentiator. Now you have thought because of these experiences. See, the number of books that you have read and the number of books that I have read are very different. The kind of books that you have read, the kind of books that I have read are very different. So your experience is very different than mine. So, but it doesn't make your experience any less invaluable than mine. So what is the differentiator? Worthiness. You accept that the other person, even if they are very different in experience, very different in their background, still they are worthy of something. And in my experience, I have seen everybody has at least two skills, two things, very worthy and very to be respected about. So wholehearted living is what? You accept your negative side as well as your positive side. You are not all goody-goody, but you are as bad as anybody else. And you are okay with that. That is what wholehearted living is. So what stood out for you from her talk, from her experience? How do you think? So now this question starts and you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever. How do you think vulnerability and resilience are connected when dealing with a personal crisis? Think of a personal crisis that tested your resilience. Health issue, relationship breakdown, financial struggle, or something else. What were your emotions and thoughts during the crisis? What steps did you take to recover? How did the experience make you stronger, change your perspective? What did you learn about yourself through this process? So on that scale, it is kind of felt defeated or highly resilient, in between something also. Success story? Any success story that you have, you should always emphasize about your success stories where you have done very well, about 8 to 9. Even those which are less than 5 also are successes in failures, because every failure is an experience. And every experience gives you something very strong to learn about, a feeling of empathy. So, what helped you the most in bouncing back from your personal crisis? Key lessons: resilience is built through challenges. Vulnerability leads to strength. Reflecting on crisis fuels growth. So, how do you reflect? You write down 3 pages, 4 pages. That is the most important thing. And you have to write down on pen and paper. to get rid of any pain that you have retained so far. So let us get to the last PPT. This is on communications. Have you ever navigated a misunderstanding due to cultural differences? So here is a video. We can see this. This is a 2-minute video.
Okay. बेटी का टूर्नामेंट था ना
I have spent the last 16 years studying how cultural differences are changing global organizations. But I have not always been working in a cross-cultural space. I was raised in a very monocultural place. I was raised in Minnesota, in the Midwest of the US. It was only later as an adult that I started living in other countries and kind of learning about those things. But I had a situation early in my career that got this all started for me, where I was on a trip to Japan with a Japanese colleague, and I gave a short presentation to a group of Japanese participants. And at the end of the presentation, I asked them if they had any questions. When I looked at the group, no one raised their hand, so I went to sit down. My Japanese colleague then said to me, "Erin, I think actually there were some questions. Do you mind if I try?" And I said, "Okay, fine." So he then stood up, and again he said, any questions? And again, no one raised their hand. But this time he looked very carefully at the group. "Oh, do you have a question?" And the woman said, "Well, thank you, I do." And she asked a fascinating question. And then he did it again. "Oh, do you have something you'd like to say?" "Yes, thank you, I do." So afterwards, I said to him, how did you know that these people had questions? And he said to me, "Well, it had to do with how bright their eyes were." And I thought, wow, they don't teach us that in Minnesota. So then I said, "But how do you know how bright their eyes are?" And he said, "Well, in Japan, we don't make as much direct eye contact as you do in the West. So when you ask people if they have any questions, most people are not looking at you directly. But a few people in the audience are looking directly at you, and their eyes are bright. And that indicates that they would be comfortable with you calling on them." So the next day I gave another presentation, and again I asked if there were any questions, and again no one raised their hand. But this time I thought, okay, I'll just try. So I did as he instructed, and I looked carefully at the group, and I saw just as he said, only a couple of people in the room were looking directly at me. And if I really thought about it, well, yes, okay, their eyes were bright. So I gestured to one of them, and he kind of went like that. And then I said, "Would you like to say something?" And he said, "Yes, thank you." So this was a very important experience for me because, well, there's an expression in Japanese, which is "fuki yomanai." They shorten it to KY, and it means someone who is unable to read the atmosphere, or someone who is unable to read the air. They need to pick up the communication that's in the air. And here we could see that he clearly could read the air, and I was clearly KY. But I also saw that with a little bit of assistance and direction, that I also could become better at picking up those signals that were in the air. So then as I was thinking about this, I became very interested in trying to figure out if there was a method that we could use to help people to better read the atmosphere when they were working with cultures that they didn't know intimately. And we then started to develop this framework that came from lots and lots of research, where we divided culture up into different types of behaviors. And we started looking at, how is trust built in different parts of the world, and how do we make decisions differently in different parts of the world. And we saw that we were able to come up with patterns for how countries or cultures fell differently on those scales.
Yeah. So the agenda here is this. She was talking about the culture map, high, low context communication, decision-making styles, trust building, disagreement approaches. So many of them we didn't know, many of them we already encounter and have a very negative kind of standing about all those. So let us see what all those are. Culture map. So this is the maps he was talking about. It is about your communication style, your evaluation, persuasion, leadership, decision making, trust, and disagreement. How it is perceived in the East and the West. High-low context communication is high context is communication is indirect body language expression, and there is a low context also, which is direct and clear. So effective delivery techniques are like these. These are the ways of high context delivery techniques. She was talking about this meaningful eye contact, purposeful gestures, good posture, control your expressions are some of this. Are you able to relate to here? You are here still?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So there are so many ways, and we don't know. Maybe she could have thought that this audience is indifferent because of our background. So that also, and speaking impact is your ability to communicate effectively, which leaves a lasting impact on your audience. That is everybody is looking for. So how do you navigate your question and answer session with all those experience that you face about your audience, because you come from a different cultural background, even in our country, which is so diverse in culture. So we don't know their ways of responding. So, and dynamic of delivery is, these are all that we take, question, answer, interaction, we take this, but how this happens, we have to work a lot on. Tips and takeaways, you have to give yourself feedback, reflect on performance, explore new techniques, set personal goals, iterate and adapt. Not everything that you learn can be applied because of our own background, our own cultural backgrounds and experiences, but slowly it can be adapted to that particular audience. And then the other day, then another day, you will go to another audience and you have to learn about their cultural background as well. So whenever there you experience such a kind of indifference in the audience, you need to know that there is something amiss about this cultural thing. Decision-making style. Directive decision, fast, clear accountability, but misses input. So somebody who takes very fast decisions, they are very clear about their thing and they are accountable for their thing, but they may not be taking many inputs. Analytical, too much of data-based, research-oriented, compiles all viewpoints, but it is time-consuming. Sorry, this is conceptual, which is big picture based, creative solutions, long-term vision, but impractical and misses short-term details maybe. Behavioral, collaborative, consensus based, group aligned, but slow, or maybe you will compromise your own values to fit into that group. Autocratic is again quick, individualistic, independent, but it doesn't help you do creativity. So which style you encounter depends on this. So if you know all these styles, then it will help you figure out which is the style your reader is there, or what is your style as well. Democratic is inclusive, expressive, concise, but delay in difficulty in large teams. So laissez-faire is delegating, which is the ideal. So minimal instruction, autonomy within the team, everybody has got this freedom to express. And once they express something, they take responsibility for this. But maybe in large teams, indecisiveness or not well-trained teams, it will be indecisive because the teams doesn't know a thing and you have delegated them. So one needs to take care whether the team is trained or not. And lack of clarity. Might be they require much more handholding, which you haven't yet provided. Only being delegative doesn't help. They might also think that you have shared your load, you have passed on your responsibility to them, and you are free to do something else. So this is the other side. Consensus is unanimous decision, uniform expectation, equal input, full collaboration. Alternative prospects are suppressed. Intuitive, instinct, gut feeling, previous experience, but no formal analysis and maybe biased at times. So one needs to do trust building. Trust building within yourself and within the team. Commitment, productivity, creativity, collaboration, and accountability. You have to score on all these parameters to build trust. And disagreement approaches are these, your leader might be disagreeing by avoiding or maybe accommodating whatever you are saying. Or there are people who are in competition with you because they disagree with you. Compromise, maybe you have to compromise with them. You are calling that as compromise because you don't agree, but you have to do. Collaboration is also strangely is a disagreement approaches because you are not wholeheartedly into it, but you are still contributing because you want to collaborate, because your strengths are different. Deflection. Your leader doesn't listen to you is a deflection. Withdrawal, you don't at all in it in whatever is going on. Or confrontation. This is the best value when you don't agree. Confrontation is that thing which can resolve big differences within 10 minutes. So take a cup of coffee, both of you with which you have this disagreement, go and discuss. It will be over in 10 minutes, surprisingly. Or otherwise, it will go to years. And I remember one story that a person, a junior, actually left his job because he didn't agree to his boss. And after 10 years, they met somewhere. And then the leader was very enthusiastic. Arey, Mohan, mil gaya. Where have you been? And kya raha? तेरे लिए ही छोड़ दिया था वो job, the other person said.
Yeah, that happens a
Now,
lot.
so what happened? I didn't know. Then they sat down and because now they are strangers, they are no more boss and junior, so they talked freely and they say, "अरे मेरे को बोल दिया होता यार, I could have resolved." So see, 10 years and the other person has retained that pain and that suffering, and might be he has left a very good organization just because he didn't agree to his leader. So confrontation is the biggest value. Always do that, and you don't have to fight with the other person. You can do it
But
very amicably. Sit down with a cup of coffee and say, I didn't agree to this, and you have to explain me as to why you have taken this decision. That's it. So this is I stop sharing. And the fifth one is your eco thing. Eco, how can you be a eco person? Eco person is, what did you do out of all these four to accommodate into your work style? And that is what eco thing is. Because the entire crux of all these teaching lessons is to have workplace wins, because that is how you will have a calmer workplace, and a calmer workplace leads to a cooler globe, and cooler, calmer, and greener globe. And how can we start from here at wherever we are? by adopting something which calms down, which makes everybody more productive. That is the aim of all these stories. And there are 27 emotions. We dealt with fear and 1/6 of it today. So it is a huge thing to learn about so many things, very small things, everything we tend to understand, but we don't implement or we don't give a thought. So this is it. So how was it? Now everybody can come on video and can share their ideas. Yes. And Niharika
Niharika,
too.
you can come on video if you want to. You don't have to talk.
Yes, you can talk also. She is in office.
No, she's at home. We are on the way to something.
Okay. So any new learning, you can evaluate yourself on the scale of 1 to 10. I'll send the questions also and the Google form also, and you have to evaluate and give your takeaways. So how was it, Niharika?
It was really nice. Actually, I like to learn these things, so I have learned a lot, and I know few things before, but yeah, it
Yes.
was a nice session. Yeah.
Thank you. So what in particular was your learning?
I mean, it was like a time management. I'm very poor at it, so
We can have a exclusive session on time management, and in that I will not talk. I'll only ask questions. You have to explain, and at the end of the session, your time management will be done. Or at least see, everything we learn, we need to implement. And for implementation, we need to have a habit. And for habit formation, it takes 21 days. So that is why I have this 30 days thing. Every day you have to do whatever you are not able to do, you have to do that only. So, and you have to try. In 30 days, it will be failures. Say slowly, gradually, you will succeed. Say first day 90% failure, 10% success. So at the end of 30 days, it will be a habit. So it will be nearly 90% success. And we call that as success.
okay.
Okay. Thank you for being here and giving so much of input. You didn't
I
ask
finished all
anything.
my data.
Yes.
I finished all my data. You have to give me money for my monthly data now.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that laugh doesn't mean she's gonna give me any money.
Yeah. So you should be
That's
at
right.
home for these sessions so that you sit down and take this very calmly, because these are very small things, but it needs a lot of reflection. You should be able to write down and take this. Yeah.
And I do have one question. Usually we start things excitingly, but later on we just skip it.
Hmm.
I mean, usually it happens with me. So
Yeah. So
overcoming it, I don't know how to really solve that issue.
if you can give me one example where you started excitedly and
ମୁଁ
then
ଯାଉଛି ମା ନେଟ୍ ସରିଗଲା ତୁ କଥା
yes,
ହବା।
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
bye.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
I mean, usually, if I want to learn like new skill, in the beginning stage, I used to learn a lot, but after like few days, I was like, okay, I'll take it slow. Like I gradually take it very slow.
So the solution I also discussed today, Niharika, is about try to solve a problem that you don't know anything about. A problem which nobody thinks that you have the expertise for. Take that and you will learn automatically. And give yourself challenges. You should have 1 or 2 sleepless nights. And also the second thing is your why you are learning this. So give yourself a sufficiently. So ask 5 whys to yourself. Suppose you say, I this by learning this, I become a greater professional, right? That is the first why. What happens if you become a greater professional? So you will get some answer. Ask that question also again. How that, suppose you will say you will get more money. So what you will do with that more money? Ask 5 questions that way, and it will drive your interest into something, into your why. The core of your heart should accept whatever you are trying to do. Unless you do that, you are not going to go very far. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So next Sunday again, please come with a lot of questions, or in between, if you can pass on some questions, then we can design this. Actually, I'm creating a course
Yeah.
about how to have workplace wins. Every day you should have at least 5 wins.
Mm.
So I'm trying to teach people how to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah.
Thank
Good luck.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful session.
Thank you.